Hello from the Loop Supplier store in Stanley, Wisconsin. My name is Steve, and we are looking at the new Gravely ProTurn ZX. This one is a 60-inch. This machine is also available in a 52-inch and also in a 48-inch, I believe. We don't have a 48-inch on display. The ZX is built off of the HD chassis. You'll notice if you kind of ignore the label there where it says ZX and just look at the frame and deck on the machine, and then if we were to go over to an HD 60, you'll notice it's the same frame, same deck, a lot of similarities, but there is a big price difference between these two. So that's really going to be in two areas. One is the transmission and the other one is the engine. So going to the transmission, the ZX is going to come with a Hydrogear 3200 series transmission. The Hydrogear 3200 is a significant increase in performance over the 3100 that would come in an HD model. The 3100 series makes about 350 pound-feet of torque, and it weighs 35 pounds. About 35 and a half pounds. The ProTurn ZX will come with a 3200 series transmission, which is only a half pound heavier. It jumps from 32 and a half pounds up to 33 pounds, and the torque goes from 350 pound-feet to 470 pound-feet. So over a 30% torque improvement with virtually no increase in weight. So really an awesome performance difference between the HD and the ProTurn ZX in just the responsiveness of the sticks and how it feels when you're operating it, and kind of the promptness when you're launching or going up a hill, that kind of thing. It just feels strong, frankly, because it is. Doesn't have a major impact in speed, give or take about 1 mile an hour faster, but it's more just the feel and the quickness in response is what you'll notice as a difference. There are a couple of minor differences in included features. The HD has an available seat isolator kit. The ZX comes with that. You can see the rubber mounts underneath that, where an HD, we have one right over here I can show you, we'll have just a steel plate underneath the seat without those mounts. The roll bar comes with, the rollover protection system comes with a ZX, where on an HD, if we come back over and look at the HD we have here, you'll see those covers where that could be added. And then the ZX also comes with the Kawasaki FX engine. The FX engine on paper appears to make a little bit, just a tiny bit less horsepower, but if you dig into it deeper, you'll find it also makes a tiny bit more torque. From an operator standpoint, I don't think you'd ever be able to tell the difference between these two. They both perform very well. The key differences are the FX series Kawasaki engine is going to come with this Donaldson air filtration system. That's a two-stage air filter, where the HD is going to come with just a single stage filter, and then you can add a pre-filter to that. They don't come with a pre-filter, and that's a smaller filter in general. Also, you can do some other things. You'll see this little port right here, that kind of nylon screw that's in there. You can add what they call a filter minder onto this system that keeps track of when you need to change the filter. Also, they have these access ports right here that you can open up and get in a little bit more easily to clean out the cooling fins on the cylinders, as well as everything just being metal versus plastic. Finally, this will come with a shift style starter versus the more traditional Bendix style starter. And we'll get into kind of what's different or unique between those here in just a moment. Otherwise, overall, just a fabulous machine. I love how low it is. This will appeal to a lot of different people. Really big, wide tires, excellent flotation, great traction, very confidence inspiring when you drive this machine. It handles side hills really well. You do get relatively low weight for the performance specs. Still a super heavy duty machine, nearly 1,000 pounds. This is going to come in 100 pounds heavier than an HD, but still hundreds of pounds lighter than a 100 or a 400, let's say, series machine. You do lose the dual fuel tanks, and you give up some overall beefiness. But this frame design, deck design, and so on are all very, very commercial. And there's some other just little things people like a lot. You can access your deck height from the top versus a lot of other models in the professional series will be from the side, like that one is over there. So you have to kind of read the top reference and then convert it to the side. Kind of zoom in so you can see these numbers, and so you got to read and kind of convert that into the pins. Where on the HD, the ZXs and the ProTurn Zs, those numbers, and I'll spin this around for you, are right on top, and where the pin is where you're at. So talking about the frame and the deck design in general, spindles, all those kind of things, we'll start off just looking at this frame. I had this pulled up here so you could take a look at it. A fully welded box construction frame, not C-channel. Really awesome design. Gets everything low in the chassis and makes it really a great performer. Also, as long as we're on the subject, I do have right here a couple of starters, so you can kind of see the difference. This one on the left happens to be a Briggs & Stratton starter. It's a Bendix style starter, kind of your traditional style. What happens with this one is when the power comes and energizes the starter, this jumps out and engages the flywheel. This gear is made out of kind of a softer material. It's designed to wear out and be able to be replaced, because what happens is this starter reaches its full speed and torque as it's spinning, and then that rotational force creates like a centrifugal force, or on this screw that's here, and it rides the gear up and engages the flywheel. So by the time this gear hits the flywheel, this is already at full power, full RPM, and it's sort of a harsh impact. It's a rough engagement, harder on the starter. For a homeowner, it's not like you're starting it 40 times a day. Not that big a deal. But someone that's using it commercially, or just looking for the longest life, this style starter is designed, it's a shift style starter. There's kind of a pivot in here, and as the starter gets power from the solenoid, or from the switch that activates the solenoid, it simultaneously engages this gear before it starts to spin. And so there isn't such a harsh impact or harsh engagement that simultaneously is engaging the gear and sending power into the motor. The downside is now when that motor starts to spin, it already is engaged. It's got to have a lot more juice available. And I can show you on the ProTurn ZX, it comes with a larger battery, the same as what would be on some of the other commercial ones. If we looked at an HD, it's going to have a smaller battery. So I think in part, not only because it's a more commercial machine, but also in part to help spin that starter, there is some extra power available there. I'm going to actually jump over, and we're going to talk about spindles for just a moment. The Gravely Spindle Design is a forged aluminum design. It has a forged design versus a cast design because the forged is much stronger. I actually grabbed a spindle from a Cub Cadet just for reference. So not only just looking at these straight on can you see a huge size difference, but if you look very closely at the design of this, you'll see the grain. And that's a kind of a unique property of forging. The grain actually gets put into the metal and it almost ends up looking a little bit like wood, where with cast you'll see a very uniform kind of a sandy texture. The cast is not nearly as strong. It is much more susceptible to breaking or chipping or splitting, where the grainy structure of forging actually gives the part strength in its shape. So this is a process where they take a billet and they basically form that billet with heat and high pressure into this shape, versus this would be a mold where they turn this aluminum into a molten product and pour it into that mold. And so you do get not only a significant strength improvement from just it being a physically beefy spindle, but the forging process is just better. And then the spindle shaft itself, manufactured from 100,000 psi stress-proof steel, and sealed bearings. Some people are looking for a grease zerk on their bearings. These spindles are awesome. Now, one of the cool things that is impressive about Gravely, you can buy a $10,000 plus machine, 400 or even the 100s or full commercial machines, and you get this spindle. It's the same part number. If I go to a ZX or an HD for 2019, it's going to give me this same spindle as well as on a 400. So this spindle is the same spindle they're using throughout. It's a really, really awesome spindle. They give it 3-year XL spindle warranty, and this is a cutaway version here. We've still to date had not a single spindle replacement with this unit. So kudos to Gravely. They just do an awesome job with their spindle design. Now, a couple of quick comments from the peanut gallery, if you'll take them. Upgrades, one of our favorites, common one that people get is the gator blade. This would be the new G6 blade from Oregon, 396-807. This is a blade we highly recommend you consider if you have a 60-inch Gravely. You can get this for a 52 as well. This one is 20.5 inches, which you would want would be the 18-inch in a 52. So what's unique about this, still 250 thousandths thick, so 1/4 inch, the same as the blades that would come stock, but it is a little bit wider. This one is about a 1/2 inch wider than the OEM blades. And then these mean looking gator teeth really do make a difference, a noticeable difference in how well it's able to cut and kind of double chopped, so to speak, the grass. And then on the G6 versions, you have this carbide infused edge, so it's almost like a carbide paste that's been put into the edge of the blade on the bottom, and that causes it to wear, theoretically, wear quicker at the top than it would on the bottom, which is going to help kind of keep that edge. So it's, you could make a case it's sort of a self-sharpening feature. I'm not going to try to tell you that that's something that works really, really well, but they are a nice blade. They get really good results. So if you're not familiar with it, if you haven't looked at it, you are going to pay about probably $2,000, something like that, more to get into a ZX. Depends on the dealer. But this is really a awesome machine if you've been considering an HD and you want to kind of get an HD on steroids. One other thing that I absolutely cannot recommend highly enough is to take advantage of the newly available full suspension seat upgrade. I did mention this has the seat isolator kit. This is a really nice seat. Nothing wrong with it. It's comfortable. When you go over rough terrain, this seat will kind of rock back and forth and allow you the movement to absorb those impacts very well. But it's not on par with this seat. We have this mounted on an HD right now. It's kind of a pro tip for you. We do have a kit that we sell that allows you to take this seat and mount it on an HD. So if you're looking to really give an HD a huge upgrade from the stock seat, give us a call and we can help you out with that. This seat gives you the ability to set a dial to your weight, so you can turn this and set it for whatever weight that you want. Kind of slick there. Also, you have a full recline knob. So that's right on the side there. These armrests have spinners underneath, adjustment screws that allow you to dial in kind of your elbow height. And then on this side, right under the armrest, is another lever which does a lumbar adjustment. This is a new option from Gravely. Officially not an option for an HD. We have developed our own kit that allows it to work, and people love it. So that's just something for you to keep in mind. If you're gonna spring for a ZX, no pun intended, the spring suspension seat is a no-brainer in my opinion. You're already paying extra to get extra. You may as well not hold back, get everything just the way you want with no regrets, and get that kit added, and you get to keep your old seat, which so far my favorite use from customers is as a boat seat. So you have some options for using that and repurposing it effectively as well. Thanks for your time. Feel free to give us a call, lubesuppliers.com or 1-800-243-5657. Thank you.